I've spoken with thousands of parents at this point who need help with their child's weight loss, and I found that the number one cause of weight gain in children isn't too much sugar, and it's not too little exercise, and it's certainly not just eating less carbs. The number one cause of weight gain in children is inconsistency. And I don't just mean inconsistency in what the kids do or eat, I mean inconsistency in how the parents around them treat them with food. And here's a fact that might surprise you. 95% of the consultation requests that I get as a nutritional therapist specializing in children's weight loss are from moms. And the sad truth is, most of them don't even feel comfortable bringing their husband or ex-husband to the consultation. They tell me things like, he just doesn't think it's a big deal, or he says she just needs more discipline, or the worst is, he thinks I'm just overreacting, and that this is all emotional nonsense. And I get it, because that was my story too. When I was a kid, my mom brought me to weight loss programs like Jenny Craig behind my dad's back. And she spent her own money. She went thousands of dollars into debt trying to help me. She was desperate and willing to do anything to help me. But she just couldn't do anything to convince my dad to change. And my dad thought that I would just grow out of it, or that I just needed more willpower and to stop shoving so much food in my mouth. So I grew up stuck between these two messages. And no matter what I did, because my parents weren't on the same page, I kept yo-yoing up and down and was obese until well into my adulthood. So if that sounds like you, and you don't want your child to suffer for decades like I did, then in this video, I'll show you why inconsistent parenting actually makes your child addicted to food, how inconsistent parenting leads to sneaky eating, guilt, and confusion around food, and how to finally get on the same page with your partner or family members so that your child can sustainably lose weight and gain back their health. So let's get straight into it. Why does inconsistent parenting make your child addicted to food? Have you ever wondered why gambling is so addictive? It's not because you win often, it's because you win randomly. Casinos know that if people might win on any spin, they'll keep going, hoping that this time will be the one. That unpredictability triggers a huge dopamine response in the brain, which is essentially the hormone that makes you feel good, which is exactly what makes gambling addictive. Now here's the part that most parents don't realize. That same psychological trick is probably happening in your home around food. Let's say one parent says, we're not having dessert anymore, we're just going to cut back on sugar. But then the next day, or with the other parent, or at grandma's house, the child gets a treat. Suddenly that treat becomes unpredictable. Now your child's brain starts responding like it would do with a slot machine. Maybe today is the day I can have it. Or if I ask enough times, maybe I'll finally get it. Maybe if dad's in a good mood, or if mom's distracted, the possibility of getting the treat, not the treat itself, becomes the obsession. They've learned that even if the answer is no right now, they just need to wait, ask again, or go to someone else, and they might still get it. And one mom told me recently, my daughter never listens to me. If I say no, she sneaks it. If I let her have one, she wants 5 more. I want you to understand that that's not bad behavior. That's a brain stuck in a pattern of unpredictability, and that unpredictability is what fuels the obsession and addictive behavior. So the more inconsistent the rules are, the more your child will think about food, fight about food, and feel out of control around food. And this is why creating clear, predictable, and consistent rules that both parents apply consistently is one of the most powerful things you can do to help your child lose weight. Now, I also want to help you understand why inconsistent parenting leads to sneaky eating. Something I see all the time, and I lived through this myself, is this dynamic. One parent is the disciplinarian. Usually it's the dad, but sometimes these roles are flipped. They say things like, didn't you just eat? Why can't you just control yourself? Stop being so lazy. And the other parent, often the mom, is more permissive. They want to be supportive, but often feel guilty or get exhausted by the constant conflict and cave in to the child's requests. And in that tension, kids get caught in the middle and start learning how to actually play the system. And when I was a kid, I knew exactly how to press my parents' buttons. And if I know that my dad said no or made a harsh enough comment, I'd push him and I'd start a fight or act out emotionally because I know that if he gets angry enough, my mom would feel bad for me. And when she felt bad, she'd bring me something comforting, and it was usually food. It was ice cream, a treat, or whatever I wanted. I didn't know it at the time, but I was actually training my brain to use food as a reward, comfort, and a weapon all at once. And you have to be careful because kids are very smart at knowing which buttons to press to get what their body needs. And I also remembered that the disciplinarian approach and the guilt-inducing comments around food made me want to sneak food constantly. I would always wait until everyone went to sleep so I could go downstairs to the basement freezer and eat all the ice cream. And I knew exactly where to hide the wrappers so that my parents couldn't find them. I later learned that this wasn't just because I was disobedient. It was because I didn't know what my parents' response would be if I asked for food. And when you grow up in a home with two different food philosophies, stuck between food as control and food as comfort, you never really know what's okay anymore. This is exactly what creates sneaky eating, guilt and shame, emotional dependency on food, and a constant fear of being found out. So if your child is sneaking food or hiding it or even lying about it, don't just ask what's wrong with them. Instead, ask what messages are we as parents sending right now? So, what can you actually do as a parent if you find yourself stuck in the cycle of inconsistent parenting? The first step is to stop arguing about the rules and start agreeing on the why. Before you try to set rules or make a meal plan, sit down with your partner, your ex, or whoever shares parenting with you and ask the bigger question. What do we actually want for our child's health? And what do we want their beliefs to be around food and their body? What message do you both want your child to carry for the rest of their lives? When one of the families I worked with finally had this conversation, here's what they landed on. We want our daughter to feel proud of her body, not ashamed. We want her to eat foods that help her feel good long term, not just short term. And we want health to feel like love, not punishment. And those three messages became their anchor. And from there, it became so much easier to agree on the how, because at least they started agreeing on wanting the same outcome. And now on to step 2. I want you to just pick one habit to align on. You can't just expect to change everything overnight. In fact, if you try, you'll probably burn out or start fighting about details that don't actually matter. So instead of arguing over every food choice, start by choosing just one thing that you'll both commit to in doing the same way. That might look like only keeping water in the house and no soda or juice. Or it could be sitting down to eat dinner at a table without our phones. Or it could be not using food as a reward or punishment, nothing like if you're good or if you win the tournament, you get dessert. It might sound simple, and this one habit might not actually change too much in your child's weight to begin with, but even one aligned action sends a powerful message. It sends the message to your child that we're in this together and the rules don't change depending on who's home. And that kind of stability is what your child is desperate for, even if they don't say it. And for step 3, if you or your partner slip up, keep it neutral, not shameful. So at some point, after agreeing on this habit, you or your partner will say yes to dessert when the other was trying to say no. Or they'll bring home junk food after a long day. It's for sure going to happen. We're human after all, we always make mistakes. In those moments, the worst thing you can do is to go into blame mode. Things like, why did you give them cookies again? Or I told you that we agreed on no snacks before dinner. That kind of response puts your partner on the defensive and usually makes them shut down or check out of the process completely. So instead, you should try to stay calm and curious. You should try to ask questions that show empathy, not judgment. Questions like, what was going on in the moment that made you say yes? Was it just one of those pick your battles situations? What do you think we could do the next time to make that easier? And if you can, try to offer support. Say things like, that's okay, let's reset tomorrow and I'll help you. Because at the end of the day, it's not about being perfect. It's about being aligned and getting back on the same page, even when things don't go as planned. And responding with empathy and neutrality keeps the focus on the bigger goal, showing your child that both parents are on the same page. And what I've seen is when parents can actually talk about slip-ups without guilt or resentment, it actually builds trust. And it shows your child how to overcome disagreements and mistakes in their own relationships when they grow older. So my goal with this video was to help you understand that you're not alone, but that also being on the same page with your partner isn't optional. It's actually essential to help your child lose weight. So if you need someone to help you bridge that gap, someone who not only understands both sides and has actually helped hundreds of parents who came in not agreeing on a single thing and helped them finally align on making health the #1 priority for their child. So if that sounds like something you want to do, then I invite you to book a free 60-minute consultation with the link in the description so that I can help your family avoid the decades of pain that my family went through.